When we finished up Pony Island, there were a few achievements that I still wanted to get. We've got 15 out of the 20, but I wanted to make sure we got all of the tickets and found out everything about our past. And we'd even discover that there was actually a secret ending at the end of it all. So here we go. We're going to have a look and see if we can get all of the remaining tickets. So when you start up the game again, you actually get a brand new option, which is the Act Select. And this lets you go to pretty much any other point of the game and replay it, which is really useful for hunting tickets, really good for pretty much everything else that we need to do. So to get our first ticket, we need to go right back to the introduction of the game. And from that, we'll be able to get our first ticket after all of this, which is actually to go into the graphic settings in the menu and then just click on a bit that says free ticket, and that's the way that we get that ticket. Yeah, really surprised that it was that easy to get, but there it is. Next one was still within Act 1, and it was to complete Pony Galaxy. Now, when I say complete Pony Galaxy, we need to get a score of 50. I'm not very good at these sorts of games, so yeah, didn't do great at this. So we're going to see my first failed attempt followed by a very sped up version of Pony Galaxy and getting a score of 50. Next up, after you've completed the advanced options, turn up all of the audio settings to maximum. Now you'll see that heart at the top there will struggle, burst, and that's another ticket. Next one, we want to go into the corrupted profile, and I could never really figure quite how to do this properly, but what we'd need to do is click on those corrupted files, and it would eventually give us a ticket somehow. I think the bottom one slows it down. I never really figured out what the top one did, but we got the ticket by the end of it. Now the next one that we want is actually still within the same screen, which is to click on the Eye of Baphomet there. I never really noticed that was Baphomet originally, but if you click on the Eye of Baphomet, it stays there the whole time. I think we did this in the actual game itself, and if you have that there throughout the whole thing, you can actually use that on the triangle in your own section, the guest section, and then confirm that the Illuminati exist, and that's another ticket for you. Last one we didn't get in this section was actually in Lucifer's part, and that was the Settlers of Satan, which of course I accidentally skipped through. But if you get 666 as the number of resources throughout there, then yeah, you get a new ticket. Roll a bunch, buy the roads, buy the settlements, the way that I have. I don't know if this is the only way, but it's the way that I did it. And roll again a few times, and you get your ticket. Next one up is the ticket lake, the one that I really struggled with. What you've got to do is click on the way back, then click on that bit over there, and it runs through the lake. You got a ticket. Next one after that is in this sort of free roam area. Once you come across Louis, you'll actually be able to walk off to the right somewhere and eventually come across a sort of corrupted gym. Now, what you want to do here is essentially what you do in the original Pokemon games, which is go up and down a bit of coastline. Yep, here it is. Here's the corrupted gym. So there's the corrupted gym with the bit of coastline there. If you just go up and down that for a bit, missing number from the original Pokemon games will come along, and that's another ticket and an achievement. Now, the next one is in the upside down free roam area. If you make your way all of the way over to the castle and then go above it, underneath it, there is someone there waiting for us, another demon that you just have to double click on, listen to everything that they say, and then you get another ticket. What's really interesting about this one is that it will come into play a bit later on in this video. Now, another one that I definitely didn't come anywhere near getting when I was playing this originally was to let Jesus live. If you don't kill Jesus, then you will get a ticket, but it's quite difficult because you need to avoid all of the starbursts that he does, the little stars that he throws at you, not starbursts. Avoid all of the hurdles, and then there will also be butterflies that come after you, which you need to hit with your gust of wind, but of course if you hit one of the butterflies that are around him, that resets your progress. This took me quite a bit of time, so we'll speed up through this and you'll see the ticket that we get at the very end, as well as the very interesting success message that we get. Now here's one that I'm actually a little bit surprised that I didn't notice what was going on with it, and that's to go into Devil Island. When you're in Devil Island, there are two ponies there now. Pretty much throughout the rest of the game, I always messed with those ponies, and I did hear when I was playing the game originally, and you can see that when you hover over the ponies, blood comes pouring out of its mouth. What I didn't realise is that it's actually filling up the screen at the bottom. I didn't notice that, I didn't see that at all. If you fill up the whole screen, you get a ticket. The last one for us to get is within Pony Island 3D. Again, surprised I didn't mess around enough with the ponies that were on Pony Island 3D. But all you need to do is click on one of the ponies, then it turns into a cube, spin that cube around, you get a ticket, and that's our last one. And that brings us to the final final section of the game where we get to have a nice little chat with Hopeless Soul here, who's not particularly impressed with us, I must say. I can't really blame them after you find out what happens at the end. I mean, we deleted the game and then then reinstalled it, loaded it back up again, and now we get this really quite fun meta ending. It's quite fun. Couple of difficult parts to it, with new mechanics as well. You get to use the A and D keys, as you can see. But yeah, I'll let this all play out. We can see how this goes. Now, the game is actually definitely over at this point. You can leave this running, the pony will just keep running forever. What I was surprised to find is WASD does work at this point, so you can move left, you can move right, and what's quite fun is you can move backwards and forwards as well. Forwards allowing you to get really close to Hopeless Soul's model. There's also a really fun part of this whole closing bit that took me way too long to actually do properly because I ran far too far forwards. And that's the fact that you can fall off the side of it and get a nice interesting little bit at the very end. I'm sure there's a far quicker and easier way of doing what I'm doing here, but you can see there on the left-hand side there's sort of a grey line, and that's the edge of the map. Now, a few fun things to finish off with. Of course, there was that guy that we spoke to earlier who wanted us to let Asmodeus know his name. So when he says, "Say my name," we type in Bua, Beulah, and get this interesting bit of dialogue with it. Next up, I just wanted to go through the dialogue that Hopeless Soul has in his box before we actually chat box before we actually talk to him. He's not very patient, calling us a bastard, but I did want to check that back and see what happened. It's quite fun. What's also quite fun here is when you type in your name again, he says "Hello, Trunk" again. I really like that. I like that. It's a really cool touch after finishing the game. Next up is another achievement that you can get, which is to type in the password under the corrupted profile. We do learn the password for corrupted within their profile, which is I am error, but when you type that in, you get this screen. I am error, of course, a reference to Zelda 2. Lastly, I just want to go through all of the bits of backstory for your character. So go into Act 1, go to the bit where you can speak to the demon there. I don't know if that demon's Baphomet himself, but you can ask the 3 questions that he offers. You can actually get through all 5 questions with these and get a bit of extra story. But yeah, we'll let this play out to the end of the video and you can see what the different answers are. And I'll see you for the next video. Thanks and bye-bye.